I have no idea when you'll see this video. I'm not sure when I'm actually going to get it published. But as I record this, it's just a few days until Halloween. And just in time for the spookiest of all holidays, I received my monthly spooky care package from the HorrorPack people. This is indeed the October of 2024 HorrorPack. HorrorPack, of course, being the horror movie subscription service that every month sends us one of these wonderful little packages that I like to open up right for y'all on camera, and I'll discover at the same time as y'all do what 4 wonderful horror movies they have sent. It's always a mystery what's in these little packages, but I always seem to enjoy them. Of course, just to tend to a little bit of bookkeeping before I rip open this package and see what's inside, do be sure to do all those YouTube-y things, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, all of those things. Leave me a comment. That all helps a lot. Another way that you can help yourself and me at the same time, if you happen to be interested in any of these movies, I will put wonderful, convenient purchase links for you down in the What's It. And if you use those to buy some movies for yourself, as you ought to do because physical media is still important, well, that you get some movies and it helps me out and it's a win-win all the way around. So, wonderful things. But I say that sort of thing every time, and some of you are probably sick of hearing me prattle on about such things. So let's get right to the movies themselves, because that's what we're really here for, is it not? Alright, the first film to come out is entitled Play Dead. And this one looks quite familiar, but I'm struggling to remember why this one looks so familiar. I see a lot of horror movies, and sometimes the titles sort of run together. So let me read the description and see if the plot sounds familiar as well. The description says, criminology student Chloe breaks into a morgue, as one does, I suppose, breaks into a morgue to retrieve a piece of evidence that will vindicate her younger brother from a crime. Once inside, she quickly learns that the coroner has a sinister use for the morgue. So, it actually does sound familiar, but not because I've seen it. It sounds familiar because, for whatever reason, I watch a lot of movies that take place in morgues, but I don't believe I've actually seen this one. I have read some horror stories and seen a couple of movies about sinister coroners or medical examiners, which are not, in fact, the same thing as a medical examiner told me and corrected me. They're not the same. Anyway, I've seen a lot of films and stories and books with a similar setup in terms of the setting and possibly even in terms of the characters, but it seems like this one is going in some different directions and it looks pretty interesting. It's one that I have not seen, but it is one that I would like to see. It sounds right up my alley, and I think we're off to a good start this October. It is the season for, well, every season is the season for spooky movies if you're our people, but this is the season in which everyone seems to like spooky movies, and I think we got a good one to start with. Next we have, this is a good one. This is The Taking of Deborah Logan. This is one that I have seen. It is not one that I had a copy of. I saw it on Netflix or Amazon or Shudder or whichever one of those streaming services it was on, and probably still is on, but I hadn't got a Blu-ray copy, and I'm thrilled to have gotten one now. And I see the HorrorPack logo on it, but I don't see a number on the side, so I'm not sure if this is meant to be the monthly exclusive. The number is on the spine under the cardboard sleeve. This is exclusive number 101. So, they've been at this for a while, and I've been with them for not quite that long, but a while myself. I always like these HorrorPack exclusives. Usually they're ones that I've not seen. This one I happen to have seen, and I can vouch for it. This is a very good film. Let me go ahead and read the description off the back in case you don't know what this one is all about. It says, on October 21st, 2014, The Taking of Deborah Logan was released. 10 years later, Adam Robitel's debut feature film, etc., 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 has become one of the most iconic and revered films in the found footage horror genre. Written by Robitel and Gavin Heffernan, the film centers around Deborah Logan, an elderly woman battling Alzheimer's disease, who agrees to let a film crew document her condition. Led by Mia, her crew, along with Deborah's daughter Sarah, soon discover there is something far more sinister going on. Brought to you by Terror Films releasing in HorrorPack, this 10-year anniversary limited edition Blu-ray is packed with special features you won't find anywhere else. That is very exciting indeed. And in fact, I'm going to stand on a soapbox for a second and remind y'all that physical media is still important. And one of the reasons, which I don't mention as often as some of the other things, I mentioned political reasons, I mentioned curating a collection, I mentioned availability of the movies, potential censorship issues if somebody decides to delete one from a streaming service, all those things. But one that is true but doesn't get talked about as much is DVDs and Blu-rays frequently have all kinds of special features, and a lot of time those are wonderful. I like to watch those making of documentaries and the blooper reels and the director or cast commentaries and all of these things. Not only because I have an interest in filmmaking, though I do, but I'm just interested in where art comes from, and I think those are important and interesting. So I'm looking forward not only to rewatching this film, because, let me tell you, Alzheimer's disease is the thing that frightens me medically more than I think anything else. And this film manages to make the most frightening disease all the more horrific and all the more frightening. So I'm looking forward to rewatching it just because it's a great film. But I'm also now looking forward to checking out all of these bonus features. So this is a real treat. And if you haven't seen this one, I will review more fully again when I do my monthly review video. By the way, I do monthly review videos as well, separate from these unboxing videos. So subscribe and stay tuned. I'll review it more then, but my short one is, if you haven't seen The Taking of Deborah Logan, you should. Next up is a film entitled Horror of Frankenstein. Now, I know I have seen this one. This is one of the 1970s Hammer horror movies, but it's been a long time and I don't remember all of the details. And honestly, sometimes the Hammer movies sort of run together in my mind, and I struggle to remember by title which one was which. So let me read the description on the back of this one too. This one says, young Victor Frankenstein returns from medical school with a depraved taste for beautiful women and fiendish experiments. As you do. I think we can all relate, no? Just me? Carrying on, it says, when he runs out of fresh body parts for his research, he turns to murder to complete his gruesome creation. Now, his monster has unleashed its own horrifying killing spree. The true horrors of Dr. Frankenstein have only just begun. And by the way, the monster is portrayed by David Prowse of Darth Vader fame. Not the voice, but the actor in the suit in the original trilogy. So, good stuff. You really can't go wrong with these old Hammer movies, and I'm not going to say too much because though I have seen this one, it has been a really long time, so memory fades, and I'm not sure exactly sort of where it would rank among the Hammer movies until I rewatch it, but I will rewatch it shortly, and then stay tuned for that review video. But I didn't have a copy, and so far I've got 3 movies that I didn't have copies of. Only, I guess I have seen 2 of them, one of them only that I've seen fairly recently, so HorrorPack is doing good this October. But we're still not quite finished. There's one more. And it is The Barn Part 2. I didn't know there was a Part 2. And I notice this one also is a HorrorPack. It doesn't say HorrorPack exclusive in this case. It says HorrorPack Presents, and it doesn't have the number on the spine. So I'm guessing this one is not being counted as part of the numbered sequence. So I think they're not counting this as exclusive number 102. Although I guess they could. We'll find out next month when we figure out whether 102 or 103 shows up in next month's package. But The Barn was, I think, actually one of the first films that I got out of HorrorPack a couple years ago when I first signed up, and it was a lot of fun. It was like a perfect Halloween horror movie. And I think a lot of people think Halloween is when you watch horror movies. No, you watch horror movies all year. But around Halloween, you watch specific horror movies. You might watch Halloween, the Halloween franchise about Michael Myers. You might watch Trick or Treat. Everyone has their own sort of traditions and favorites that they watch during the season, but The Barn is in that sort of genre. It takes place at Halloween. It deals with all the Halloween tropes, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't know there was a sequel, so I'm really excited to have gotten this one, because now this is going to be part of my Halloween watching for sure. Anyway, let's read the description, which says, "It's been 3 years since Michelle escaped the events in Weary Falls, but she is still plagued with the questions of what truly happened to Sam and Josh and the rest of her friends who disappeared on Halloween night. Now in college, Michelle and best friend Heather are put in charge of the annual Gamma Tau Psi Haunted House. Unfortunately for Michelle, some uninvited trick-or-treaters from her past come knocking, and this time they brought their friends to join the party." And I noticed there are a lot of sort of horror royalty in this one. Ari Lehman, Linnea Quigley, Joe Bob Briggs, and Diana Prince, Darcy the Mail Girl, Lloyd Kaufman, and Doug Bradley are listed all on the back. So there's a who's who of horror in this, and it's a sequel to a really fun Halloween movie, and it's another new Halloween movie that showed up just in time for the holiday, so I could not be happier with this addition to this month's HorrorPack. In fact, I couldn't really be much happier with this HorrorPack in general. We've got 4 great films. Great looking, I should say. I haven't seen all of them. But there's some really good stuff here, and a good variety. We've got the sort of Halloween movie, we've got the classic, we've got the fairly serious supernatural and medical horror. And then we've got Play Dead, which is apparently serial killer or twisted madman working as a coroner. So a good mix of different kinds of horror, different subgenres. All of them either are good or sound good. I'm thrilled. The HorrorPack people done good this month. This is the 1 month out of the year when I think, like I keep saying, everyone wants a good horror movie. And, well, we got them. Anyway, that does bring us to the end of our time together for this evening. I'm doing a lot of other things. I mentioned this as I record this is a couple of days before Halloween. Might be a couple days after Halloween by the time you see it, depending on my actual publishing schedule. But there's a lot going on, and now I have 4 new Blu-rays that I need to watch. So I think I'm going to sign off and go watch some movies. But do be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those things. And most importantly of all, if you happen to be seeing this before Halloween, then happy Halloween. If you happen to be seeing this after Halloween, then I hope you had a happy Halloween. And as always, take care and stay scared.